101.3 FM, KRNG Fallon, Reno, Fernley, Sparks, Nevada, and surrounding. 101.3 Biggest Little Radio presents Jan's Small Business Spotlight with Jan Friends.
It's Wednesday. We're taking care of business once again. You are listening to Jan's Small Business Spotlight. I'm Jan from the Fernley News Network. Find us online at fernleynews.com for all your breaking news and weather. To find local businesses and services, check out our business directory at fernleybusinessdirectory.com. If you've got a business, you need to be there. This segment is sponsored by Liberty Fitness, teaching strength through discipline. If you're looking to get your mind and body into perfect harmony, you need to stop by Liberty Fitness. Liberty Fitness offers classes and instructions that include CrossFit for adults and kids, Taekwondo, cardio, kickboxing, and ninja warrior training. Your kids can benefit too with tumbling classes and dance classes that include instruction in ballet, tap, jazz, hip-hop, modern, and musical theater. Stop by Liberty Fitness today. Call us with questions for our guests anytime through our live broadcast by calling 775-404-1115. Text us at 775-737-2344 or use the chat box at biggestlittleradio.com. Today we'll be talking about the Nevada Breastfeeds campaign. The goal of this campaign is to educate new parents, employers, and the healthcare industry on the latest breastfeeding information, resources, and legislation. Today, my guests are Lindsey Gray-GAIL, Brian, and SHAYLA Holmes. We have a full house today. Lindsey, who is the state representative, I guess you'd call it representative, right? Has served the Nevada statewide breastfeeding coordinator for the last 3.5 years. She works with WIC clinics, hospitals, and the community to optimize support and breastfeeding mothers. She also has developed our state's Breastfeeding Welcome Here Nevada campaign. Gail Bryan, who works here at the Fernley office, has been a WIC specialist, CLE for LCHS in the Fernley clinic for 9 years. Prior to that, she was at the Department of Social Services in California for 11 years. She's the facilitator for WIC Breastfeeding Support Group in Fernley that meets every Thursday at the Fernley Library. We also have SHAYLA Holmes. SHAYLA works for Lyon County Human Services as a program supervisor of WIC and Nevada Families First Home. She worked for Human Services for 3 years, but is in this position for 8 or 6?
6 months now.
6 months. Okay, currently working on her master's. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And grant management and evaluation. Okay, so what I have here is that the Nevada Department of Health partners with Nevada Breastfeeding Coalition to recognize businesses that support breastfeeding families through the Breastfeeding Welcome Here campaign. Because it's the law in Nevada to permit a mother to breastfeed her child in any location, public or private, most businesses are already providing this level of access and comfort to their patrons. However, there are some businesses and employers that may be unaware of this law. This campaign ad is for businesses to demonstrate their support for breastfeeding by making a commitment through a pledge and then displaying a clearly visible window decal. So you can find out more if you want to kind of follow along with what we're going to be talking about. Need more information, check out nevadabreastfeeds.org or on Facebook, look for Breastfeeding Welcomed Here in the. And we'll give you more contact information throughout this segment, so you'll know who to call with questions and whatnot. So welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So like I said, WIC isn't just the milk and cheese people, right?
That's right.
Right? That's right. So you have a lot of programs besides this new one, right? What are some of the other programs that you handle?
programs overall, or programs like for Lyon County Human Services, we offer a variety of programs, all of which support breastfeeding moms and moms that are needing that additional support and strengthening those families to make sure mom has all the supports they need to breastfeed. So we have WIC, we also have the Nevada Families First Home Visiting Program, but any of the programs that participants come into Human Services looking for, if they're looking for that breastfeeding support or a breastfeeding mom, we'll get them connected to what they need.
Can you give us a little background on this campaign? It's been a law. How long has it been a law?
Nevada has had a law which protects a woman's right to breastfeed in public since 1996, I believe, is when it became law. I serve in a role in which I'm contacted oftentimes by moms who are asked to cover or leave when they're in a Nevada business and they're breastfeeding their infant or their child, and they're asked to cover or leave. And so then I will do an education intervention with the business. And so it came to fruition that it made more sense to sort of proactively educate businesses on the law before a mom goes through the embarrassing humiliation of being approached while she's nursing her infant and asked to cover a leave. So what we did was we created materials and we approached businesses, and we're essentially asking businesses to make sure the employers are aware that moms are able to breastfeed anywhere that they're otherwise allowed to be. And we also have a sheet of helpful responses to common complaints that staff may receive, such as, well, why can't she just feed before she leaves? Why can't she just use a bottle? So things like that, so that staff don't have to be experts in breastfeeding interventions, but we're able to give them sort of helpful, non-confrontational responses to common complaints that they may receive. And so far, we've had 80 businesses across the state sign up for this campaign, indicating that they've trained their staff on how to handle a complaint and make sure that that complaint never makes its way back to the mom.
It used to be that businesses would say, okay, they'll give you maternity leave, but when you come back, you've got to, a lot of moms were just pumping milk so that they, when they took their kid to daycare or whatever, then, they could be fed because they couldn't breastfeed because the employer was demanding, no, you got to come back, and no, you can't bring your baby and, breastfeed and work. And that's changed a little bit the last 10, 20 years. So the more healthful way of feeding your children, let's say, has kind of caught on. It's made a turnaround. That it's still kind of funny, rejected by some people, but it's kind of going back to the natural way. What are you finding out there of people who are still kind of locked in that mindset?
Well, when you talk to women prenatally, one of their biggest fears about breastfeeding is being approached when they're nursing in public. And so that discourages a lot of women from even initiating breastfeeding from the beginning, because they're worried about entering a community which isn't going to be friendly to having them re-engage in society in a normal way and existing in normal errands and routines and
feeling
outings
like they
with
have
friends.
to stay home all the time,
right?
Right,
Exactly. Yeah. So when they're finally ready after a month, 2 months, to go back into society, they want to be able to do so comfortably. But because we hear in the media all the time about people being approached and asked to cover a leave, there's a big culture of fear. And so that's why campaigns like this are really important, because we're trying to create a community that's friendly to breastfeeding moms. So not only are we educating businesses, but we're also trying to communicate to women of reproductive age that the society that they're going to enter into after they have their baby is going to be welcoming to them and supportive of them.
Now, I was listening to your conversation that you had about there's still a stigma. I don't know when or where it started, but do you think it's changing, or?
I think it's making progress. I couldn't tell you exactly when it started either, but I know back in the 80s, formula was the way that we fed babies. And that shift has slowly been starting to change. And now, like through great programs like WIC, where folks like Gail, when moms come in and they're working with Gail and they're pregnant and they're on WIC, Gail starts chatting with them about breastfeeding and normalcy and how breast is best and all of those benefits of that before a baby comes, like Lindsay was talking about, you know, preparing them for what that looks like after the fact, and then sharing with them all of that information, those laws that they're protected, and that getting moms comfortable with breastfeeding before baby comes. That way when baby is here, it's natural and it's normal, and getting more moms out there breastfeeding in public, similar to the conversation we were having when you came in. The more moms that feel comfortable, the more our society sees it, the more normal it becomes and becomes accepted as culture. So it is getting there. There's, I mean, leaps and bounds to go, but I think it's definitely made progress.
Yeah.
And I will say in our state specifically, whereas I used to receive anywhere between 5 and 10 complaints a month from moms who are being asked to cover a leave, since this campaign has taken off in the last 6 months or so, I haven't received a single complaint. So, yeah.
That's good news.
That's really great news.
So on the state level, that you have the NevadaBreastfeeds.org, which has a ton of information and contact numbers and.
It does. It lists all of the businesses that have signed on to this campaign. It has information about returning to work after you deliver. That's another big hurdle that a lot of moms face, because about a quarter of women actually have to return to work within 2 weeks of delivering a child. And so how to negotiate pumping time and space, which is also a federal requirement at this time, that businesses have to provide time and space for their moms to express breast milk for 1 year after the birth of their baby. So there's a lot of things going on in the background that are serving to support moms in meeting their breastfeeding goals, and namely WIC. WIC is the largest federal supporter financially for breastfeeding, which isn't commonly known. And we have people like Gail and SHAYLA who are working day in and day out with WIC moms to help them meet their breastfeeding goals.
And Gail's the quiet one over there.
Yes.
Are you there, Gail? Are you there? I'm here. Let's talk about the importance, because it's breastfeeding or breast milk versus the formula. People think, oh, well, there's vitamins and minerals in the formula. It's just not the same. You don't get the antibodies. And to me, you don't have a healthy child, or, healthy as they can be.
Well, like SHAYLA said, we start talking about breastfeeding
beforehand,
prenatally.
Yeah.
And human milk should go into a human being, and we also talk about formula. We don't use the word formula so much. We talk about cow milk or vegetable milk. And that kind of plants a little message.
Right.
Human milk, cow milk, or vegetable milk. We do have our weekly breastfeeding support group for pregnant moms, for nursing moms, and past nursers. And so it's a real good blend of moms sharing experiences, sharing fears, questions, phone number exchanges, and it's sponsored by WIC, but we invite all mommies.
And it's good that people, they have a place and they have other people that they connect with and talk to about their concerns or just what they're going through.
And it's funny, like you say, breastfeeding is making a big comeback with these young moms.
Although it's the most natural thing in the world, right?
Isn't that funny? It does go in waves. The other thing that's kind of a big comeback with all these moms is cloth diapers. So they all exchange, information about cloth diapers, and it's just kind of a more natural.
Does save a lot of money.
So does breastfeeding.
Yeah, and it's healthier. So, who's least likely to breastfeed? Would you?
So the research that looks at sort of the population that's least likely to breastfeed, you'll find that it's usually younger women. Women who have less social support, so that partner support is so critical. That is sometimes identified as the biggest indicator of whether or not a mom is going to be able to meet her breastfeeding goals, is if her partner is supportive and encouraging and wants her to be able to meet her breastfeeding goals. there are also people who have less education or lower employment levels. And that's, again, going back to the maternity leave issue that we've talked about, because a lot of times these populations are returning to work at a place that doesn't support breastfeeding or pumping as would be done if they're returning to work. And they feel less comfortable in negotiating that time and space that the federal law provides for them. And so oftentimes I, at the state, am able to intervene in, again, an educational capacity to make sure that the employer is providing that new mom her time and space. But a lot of times women, if they know that they're only going to have 1 to 2 weeks before they have to go back to work, it's not worth it to them.
Is there anything happening on the state level as far as required time off? Maternity leave? Is anything looking to change or stay the same, or what's set at the state level?
At the federal level, there's actually, I believe it's called a Family Act, where they are trying to introduce legislation that would make parental leave, so both for mom and for dad, something that would be an employer and employee paid program, so that moms and dads could have paid time off after the birth of their child or to care for somebody who is sick, or adoption, for example. At the state level, we aren't seeing any kind of discussion or legislation in that area, but there are several bills that are being proposed during this legislative session that have to do with breastfeeding, have to do with supporting pregnant women. For example, AB 113 has to do with making what is happening at the federal level happen here. So Nevada would require employers to provide time and space.
Good to know. Good to know. Hey, we're running out of time for this segment. We'll be right back after a few words from our sponsor, Liberty Fitness, teaching strength through discipline. If you're looking to get your mind and body into perfect harmony, you need to stop by Liberty Fitness today.
Follow the conversation on our chat box at www.biggestlittlerradio.com.
Strength through discipline is our motto, and we can help you live by it. We are Liberty Fitness, and we offer a variety of classes for adults and youth to help you reach your goals. Contact us at 980-8096 or visit us at 888 Highway 95A for more information.
101.3 Biggest Little Radio presents Jan's Small Business Spotlight with Jan Friends.
Welcome back. This segment brought to you by Liberty Fitness, teaching strength through discipline. We're talking to Lindsey Gray, Gail Bryan, and SHAYLA Holmes. If you have any questions on this topic, give us a call here at 775-404-1115 or send us a text at 775-737-2344 or use the chat box at biggestlittlerradio.com. Let's get out some information. So let's start with local. Office, website, anybody has any questions or whatever, who do you want them to call and what number do you want them to call?
Well, our local WIC office is 460 West Main Street, Suite 110 in Fernley, right across the parking lot from the bowling alley. Everybody knows
Good
that.
landmark, yes.
Good landmark. We're open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. WIC is an income-based program, so they can give me a call to see if they qualify. Number 775-835-6221.
And for anybody in Lyon County, you can call 775-577-5009. That's to our main office based out of Silver Springs, but they can route you to any of the WIC clinics in Dayton, Fernley, Urington, or Silver Springs. So there's a local WIC clinic in each community of Lyon County. So you can call that main number, the 577-5009, and get routed to the one near you.
Okay. As far as if people run into problems, do you want them to call the Fernley office or the
Either
if they
location,
have
yeah.
if they have issues or anything like that? Run the the class, okay, you have to qualify. However, can you take advantage, maybe you don't qualify, can you take advantage of the Thursday night support group?
It's Thursday day from
Thursday day.
11
Okay.
till noon. Absolutely. Yeah, we would love mommies of all ages, all current breastfeeders, pregnant, past breastfeeders.
Mm-hmm.
It's the city posts it on our reader board. So
Yeah, because sometimes, I've seen people that are like just over to where they don't qualify. They're not making enough, but it's like right on that line and just over, and it's like, okay, so they've got all this good stuff and support groups and whatever, so what do I do?
We also have the Lyon County Human Services WIC Facebook page that you can go on to, because we also offer breastfeeding support groups in Dayton, and then there's a Urington community-based breastfeeding support group that we always support in their mission as well. So there is those accesses everywhere in Lyon County, not just in Fernley, for those who don't qualify for the WIC program, so to speak. That breastfeeding support is out there.
Great. And so Facebook, what did they type in to find it?
Lyon County Human Services WIC.
Okay, that's easy enough. Okay, let's see. You've got some events coming up. Let's hit those really quick.
This weekend in Reno, there's 2 events. On Saturday, there's the Green Family Fair Cloth Diaper Exchange, and that is from 11 to 3. There's an event page on Facebook that you can look up, and it has a bunch of baby-friendly vendors and breastfeeding-friendly vendors, family-friendly activities, things of that nature, and that's on Longley from 10 to 3 on Saturday. And then on Sunday is Earth Day, so at Idlewild Park. It's a free event. Both events are free, and great fun things to do for kids and parents, and lots of family-friendly vendors and games and food and things like that. So there's a bunch of fun things to do this weekend. And then Gail will tell about the World Breastfeeding Week in August.
that's August 1st through 7th, and I don't know what we're going to do locally.
We're going to be reaching out to a lot of different businesses and community partners with some World Breastfeeding promotional stuff, such as balloons and whatnot, just to get the word out and to try to help reduce some of that stigma in the community about breastfeeding.
Mm-hmm. Great. I have a question here from Nicole. She says, I am tandem nursing my 2-year-old and infant. I was told from my mom that I should stop. Do you have any advice on what to say, or is she right?
No, tandem nursing's awesome. Sure. It's not a problem. Her mom is, I'd say, incorrect.
And do you mind if I?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, everybody talk.
I was just going to say that breastfeeding and how much milk your body produces is based on supply and demand. Mm-hmm. So the more milk you're removing, because baby's removing it or you're pumping, the more milk your body's going to make. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of really cool things about actually the communication that goes on between the baby and the mom. So through the baby's saliva, they're communicating things like maybe pathogens that they've been exposed to, and their body isn't developed enough yet to create the immune response to fight that pathogen. Mm-hmm. Well, the mom's body will then fight the pathogen on behalf of the infant so as to heal the illness earlier. So there's lots of really great things like that. So when the two different age child and infant are communicating through their saliva to their mom, her milk is responding in a way that is tailored to both of those needs. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Let me kind of expand on this, because I have a tendency to read between the lines and other things bounce into my head from time to time. There could be a possibility that mom wants her to stop the 2-year-old because maybe she thinks the 2-year-old is too old. This isn't in here, Nicole. This may not be right, but this is a valid option that can happen when mothers or friends saying your baby's awfully old, or 2 or whatever, don't you think you should stop? Mm-hmm. So is there any stopping age, or it's just up to mom and baby, isn't it?
Absolutely. I had a mom who came to our breastfeeding support group on Thursday, and on her child's first birthday, Grandpa said, you need to stop breastfeeding, baby needs milk. And mom said, baby needs to nurse from a cow now instead of nurse from mom. So it was just kind of funny. I don't know, my personal experience, I breastfed till the age of 2 for my children. So
Yeah, in most other cultures, the normal natural weaning age that you see is much older than here in the U.S. So in other cultures, you're going to see it being normal to breastfeed to the ages of 4, 5, 6. That's not what we see here. Typically, women are encouraged to breastfeed exclusively for 6 months, and then with complementary solids for 1 year and beyond, as long as, like Gail said, mom and baby are still happy and enjoying the nursing experience. But there's really no age in which breast milk loses nutritional value or will serve to be problematic in terms of the rest of their nutritional intake for the day. So yeah, if you're enjoying breastfeeding and baby's still enjoying breastfeeding, just keep on going.
But we never really want to get in the middle of a family feud. So
No.
we encourage the breastfeeding support group because that's where they can chat with other individuals that have had these same experiences and same family concerns or the feedback they're getting from other folks in their lives, so they can learn gentle ways to share and be confident in their choice to continue breastfeeding. So it's just them building that confidence and saying back to mom or grandpa that this is my choice and I'm gonna keep going with it. So that breastfeeding support group's great for getting those tactics.
This just kind of goes back to the stigma type thing,
Yeah.
because like you said, other countries do things totally different. It's more acceptable, to go longer, and here it's like, okay, well, we've got people doing, $1 million surveys or whatever, in what do you call this? Anyway, it's like, well, this is our figure, so you only need it to this much time, and you only, which may not be correct. They're putting everything into a broad spectrum and trying to cookie cutter stamp every individual when that's not possible.
Right.
And the same is with big corporation marketing, where they see things on labels that, oh, my child's a sitter, a toddler, a crawler, I have to buy this, that, So with foods, with formulas, gassy and spit up formula, all newborns are gassy and they spit up, or they, all newborns are cry, fussiness, so we have a lot of
Yeah, and a lot of times, they when you change them, you've seen a lot of dads try to change diapers and they're going, they're having a problem. But I've noticed that with babies, they don't really get totally smelly until you start introducing other things besides just milk.
Yeah, that can be a really good selling point for a lot of new parents about how the difference between the scents of the bowels of a breastfed baby as compared to a non-breastfed baby. There's a big difference. Yeah, breastfed babies' bowels do not smell that bad.
And just the elimination, a breastfed baby, the nutrients grab on, the waste is immediate, with every diaper, whereas with other forms of food, it kind of sits in their gut for a while, and that's where you see the tummy. This is where the moms come in and say, now my baby's constipated, I need this and I need that. And it's so confusing when we're designed to feed our young. Human milk. So.
Right. Yeah, I've seen them flip them upside down and put them on their arm, and that does help, with stomach problems. But you have to go back to what's causing the stomach problems.
Exactly.
And a natural feeding, you don't really get a whole lot of that. Let's talk a little bit about you have in-clinic breastfeeding classes here, right?
Yes.
And you run those?
Well, yeah, we facilitate.
So what's involved with that? They see if that's the one that they have to qualify to come in and take the class?
Oh, for the
or-
WIC. Yeah. It's we designed a video locally with our breastfeeding moms that actually talk about concerns, questions, their experiences, both good and bad. And so we show prenatally the video I try to get every mom to watch the video. Sometimes it's just that little support of peers that will tell them, wow, I bet I can do this. It's not a canned video of a doctor or a nurse telling you what you need to do. They're actual peers that I believe our video is real successful in our breastfeeding numbers. I really do. So that's before they have their baby.
Right.
We give them all their information and say, after baby comes, give us a call and we'll get you right in and I don't know.
So how? Let's go through. We've got a little bit time left. Let's try to scrunch in how everything that you're doing. Just name off how you're promoting this to encourage breastfeeding as an organization. You're using multiple channels. You've got website. You've got Facebook.
Correct.
You've got.
And when they walk in our door, they see breastfeeding welcomed here.
Mm-hmm.
And
WIC has a really, really wide spectrum of ways that they support breastfeeding. So in addition to Gail's class, every WIC clinic, including Gail's, has a trained lactation support professional there who has received extensive lactation training.
Mm-hmm.
We also have access to IBCLCs, which are internationally board certified lactation consultants that we can connect moms to over a smartphone application. We have breast pumps. We have all other kinds of interventions that moms may benefit from if they run into breastfeeding hurdles. Also, just a ton of education about when to introduce solids, how to bottle feed your baby if you are going to be bottle feeding, which most parents will at some point. And just a friendly, welcoming, supportive environment full of information and encouragement and friendly faces. And
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I want to thank you ladies for coming in. I'm sure we've got a lot more to talk about, but we've run out of time. So I want to thank everybody listening for all joining me today on Jan's Small Business Spotlight. I'm Jan, owner of Fernley News Network. Find it all in one place, breaking news and weather, plus guest writers and reporting along with local featured businesses. Our main website is fernleynews.com. You can also find us at Fernley News on Twitter, Fernley News Network on Facebook, and our YouTube videos are all available that have that have all the shows here, plus other news stories that we've done on YouTube. So just type in Fernley 360 when you get to YouTube, and then type my name, Jan France, and you will find them all. Our Facebook page is the one you like for breaking news, weather and road conditions, and of course some funny stuff, because we can't be serious all the time. Boring. If you'd like to be a guest on this program, sponsor this segment, or have suggestions for guests or topics you'd like to hear, you can email me at radio@fernleynews.com or call 775-835-3582 and leave me a message. You can also call the station here at 775-404-1115. Thanks again to my guests, Lindsey Gray and Gail Bryan from WIC, and I know I forgot one of you guys, and to our sponsor, Liberty Fitness, teaching strength through discipline, located at 888 Cottonwood Lane in Fernley. Until next week, stay safe, stay informed, make sure to bookmark fernleynews.com and keep your dial tuned to 101.3 FM.
This is Jan from Jan's Small Business Spotlight, and I'm taking care of business every Wednesday at noon. I'll have a new guest and spotlight a new business every week. Hey, are you a business owner? You want to be a guest on the show? If you're in Fernley, Fallon, Silver Springs, give me a call. I'll put you in the spotlight. Listen to Jan's Small Business Spotlight and call in with your questions and comments. I'm Jan, and I'm broadcasting live every Wednesday at noon right here at Biggest Little Radio 101.3 FM. Tune in.